Hi, my name's Mark Fielding. I'm an integrative psychotherapist and relationship counsellor. I'm a member of the British Association of Counselling and Psychotherapy and an accredited registrant of the National Counselling Society.
What is anxiety disorder and what can cause it?
Anxiety disorder is a bit of an umbrella term for people that are suffering from different types of extreme anxiety. Causes can be constitutional genetic factors. I think some people are born with perhaps a predisposition to feeling very anxious. Nurture also plays a part. I think if children grow up with one or both parents experiencing heightened anxiety or indeed an anxiety disorder, children tend to internalise that anxiety and become very anxious themselves. Also, anxiety can be created by life events such as perhaps in early life separation of the parents causing what's known as an attachment injury, bullying at school, domestic violence, sexual or emotional abuse, or really any experiences in life that have been traumatic and create a kind of trauma response which gives people a real hypersensitivity to threat and creates a lot of anxiety. Basically, many things can create an anxiety disorder.
Is there a link between trauma and anxiety?
There's often a link between trauma and anxiety. There's a whole spectrum of trauma. Trauma might be somebody who's been in a car crash and then will experience PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. But trauma can also be the separation of parents. You know, when much earlier in life, it can be bullying at school. It could be a kind of an adverse reaction to name calling. You know, even as far back as primary school. So it can be attachment trauma as well. Maybe a divorce or the breakup of a relationship can cause a trauma reaction. The thing that's most important to think about trauma is it creates a sense of hypervigilance, which is an acute concentration on potential threat. So people who have trauma and therefore have hypervigilance will kind of go about their normal lives, but they'll be really focused on potential threat, looking for threat everywhere. And the link to anxiety is because they're worrying about threat the whole time, then their anxiety levels are much higher.
Do you feel enough people know what anxiety is?
Absolutely not. I think anxiety and anxiety disorders are really misunderstood. I mean, in the workplace, for example, you know, if somebody, you know, turns up to work one morning and they've got a broken leg, you know, they evoke a lot of empathy and a lot of sympathy, and adjustments will be made for them. But I think if someone has heightened anxiety, I think in the workplace, I really don't think that adjustments are made. People really take it seriously. You know, friends might say to someone experiencing anxiety, oh, pull yourself together, just work through it, you know, just do the thing you're scared of. But I think that shows a complete misunderstanding of just how crippling anxiety can be for people.
Does therapy work for everyone?
I would say that therapy is beneficial for everyone. In terms of anxiety, I think therapy can be great in terms of just looking back and just working out why the anxiety is there. But I think also in terms of kind of helping to create coping strategies that the person can use to deal with the anxiety in the present. I think therapist fit is really important. So I think, you know, when looking for a therapist, I think it's really important to find a therapist that you feel really comfortable in opening up to. And also I think for some people with extreme anxiety, taking medication, so maybe anti-anxiety medication from the GP and having therapy alongside it can be really helpful.
Is therapy only for suicidal people?
Absolutely not. I think therapy can be fantastic for suicidal people and people that are in crisis and wanting to hurt themselves. But therapy can be useful for everyone. I think, some people come to therapy with one particular thing they want to work on. I mean, that might be a relationship pattern, a relationship issue, could be something like anxiety disorder, OCD, but a lot of people come to therapy and they just want to explore their lives. They just want to kind of look back at their past and just see how their past is affecting their current life. And I think for all of us, we bring positive patterns and negative patterns from our past into our current lives. And therapy can be really helpful in identifying some of these patterns that are probably less helpful, and just creating new patterns that are more positive and kind of help the person live the life that they wish to.
Any techniques or tips you can offer for people with anxiety?
Yeah, I think different techniques work for different people. I mean, techniques that help people with anxiety, things like CBT can be really helpful, mindfulness, meditation, physical exercise. There's lots of different techniques that can be really, really helpful. I mean, what I would say is, before kind of undergoing any technique, I think it's a good idea to take some guidance from either a psychotherapist, a counsellor, or your general practitioner. For meditation, for instance, I mean, meditation I think can be brilliant for anxiety, but if somebody has unlocked trauma, repressed trauma, meditation is contraindicated. Meditation can possibly be damaging for them, and the same as physical exercise. We all have different tolerance for the amount of physical exercise we can do, so before kind of undertaking any exercise program, I think it's a good idea to just have a chat with your general practitioner, just to get their guidance really on what you can and what you can't do. In terms of physical exercise, there's a lot of research out there suggesting that physical exercise can be really beneficial for reducing anxiety. Now, that physical exercise can be cardio, or indeed weights. Recent research suggests that doing weights is just as an effective for anxiety as cardio exercise. Physical exercise is interesting because it has the effect of increasing your feelings of well-being, and obviously if we're feeling happier and we're feeling more confident, then we're likely to experience less anxiety. But it also has a straight effect on reducing anxiety. What I suggest with my clients in physical exercise is to perhaps employ a type of mental health scaffolding. So rather than just doing physical exercise maybe on a Saturday and Sunday, to spread it out through the week, so the benefits of each kind of workout session continue and the benefits kind of cover the whole week. So for instance, a person might do physical exercise on a Monday, on a Wednesday and on a Friday, so the benefits of the exercise carry them through the whole week. In terms of meditation can be brilliant for anxiety. A regular meditation practice can quieten the mind and quieten the anxiety response. 10 minutes a day is probably okay to start. There are lots of great apps out there that talk about meditation. Headspace is one that I generally recommend to clients. Headspace is brilliant because it also explains all the different ways to meditate, so it can be really, really effective in not only helping someone create a meditation practice, but also explaining exactly how to do it. But as I say, there's lots and lots of techniques, and I think it's all about finding the technique that works best for you.
How does mindfulness help with anxiety?
I think mindfulness for some people can be absolutely brilliant in helping with anxiety, and I use a lot of mindfulness depending on the needs of the client in my clinical practice. I think with mindfulness and anxiety, often the anxiety is felt in the body. So let's take an example like social anxiety, for instance. So somebody with social anxiety is anticipating going to a social situation. So there's already anxiety in the body. But with the anxiety in the body, there tends to be a story building component. So the mind will be creating catastrophic stories of what could happen when they're at the social event, like doing something silly and attracting everyone's attention for a negative reason, feeling judged, feeling that people are staring at them. What mindfulness helps us do is just create some mental space around these catastrophic fantasies. And generally what happens is the anxiety in the body fuels the story building, the worrying about what might happen, which creates more anxiety, which fuels the story building. And you can see how people get into a loop where the anxiety just builds and builds and builds. But with mindfulness, we can just push the story building away a little bit, create a little mental space around it so it's not adding to the anxiety. So effectively, we break the loop. And for some people, it can be really, really effective in managing anxiety.
Anything else you want to say about anxiety?
Often anxiety is linked to depression, which is not surprising because people that are very anxious find life incredibly difficult, and so this can cause kind of negative feelings and depression. So the two often sit together. But having worked with people suffering from all different types of anxiety over the years, I can say that even though people in the depth of their anxiety feel that nothing will change and they're always going to feel this way, I can say that that's absolutely not the case. I think with putting some scaffolding in place and learning some techniques to deal with the anxiety, and indeed I think finding out and understanding why the anxiety is there, people can move beyond the anxiety and start living the life that they want to live.